All right, everyone. We have the playoffs for the After Hours Gaming League for you here. These bans are going out in chat, and the first ban is Cat and Gasty with an I am shocked, followed by a ban of Zin.
Yep, got that Zen. That's all I got.
There was some talk going between these two teams before the game, or the bans. The game actually hasn't even started yet. We're just arranging it right now. But these picks and bans going out in chat once again. Curse is on the left side on Team 1, and EA is on Team 2.
Yes, and these are teams ranked 3 and 6, I believe. This will be a best of 3 series and single elimination in the playoffs for the After Hours Gaming League Season 3. So one of these fine teams will move on. That is Curse with the 3rd seed, EA with the 6th seed out of 8 teams, of course. And the winner will go on to face either Google or Microsoft. I actually don't know who won yesterday. I have to check up on that. And I will do so, like, immediately after this game.
After
the set of games.
Okay, so the next ban coming out is Akali, Gasty with a sad face. Not really liking these bans, it seems. And then bans out Jax in response.
Indeed, yeah. Gasty, always focused. Every time we've casted for him, his champions just get knocked out of the pool, which is unfortunate, but I can understand. Cat and Akali, resourceless, assassin-like champions, very annoying to deal with, can snowball out of control, and certainly Curse doesn't want to see that taking control of their game this time around. So we are almost through these picks and bans, 2 for each team, and now we will learn the final ones. The interesting thing is, Zen is pretty normal ban. The other 3, all targeted bans, not so usual. What shall we see for the final 2? Will we go back to some more standard bans, or are they going to continue trying to ban people out?
Yeah, and I mean, it seems like these two teams really have tried to study each other a lot. I think they put a lot of thought into the picks and bans. Actually, they said they weren't ready. I think they might have been like trying to plan out their bans and picks before the game got started. So wanted a little more time to prepare. But a lot of thought obviously being put into the picks and bans. And I think one of the reasons we're doing these picks, or they like doing these picks and bans in the chat, is because there's no timer going for them.
It is interesting because it always does seem to take longer than, well, I think you get a minute per pick and ban. And, the first couple came out fast and, ready to go. But now as we go into later bans, it certainly has slowed down a little bit. Lux is going down, so we will not see Lux. Obviously a devastating champion. Gets farm, insta-gives 2 people, and Gasty with another frowny face. So he's just not very happy. Not too happy.
One of the nice things is that we do get to see a little bit of the players' reactions in chat when we see the bans in chat. So once again, Cat, Akali, and Lux being banned out by Curse, and so far EA has banned out Zun and Jax.
So just waiting on the final one. Oh, it's a Heart Gasty. That'll be the ban.
Banning out Gasty. It's a bold move.
Blitzcrank. So that is interesting. I'm not sure if that's targeted at anyone in particular. I'm going to try to look it up, although as of late, every time I try to look up profiles, it either doesn't work or I get crashed out of the game. And this is no exception, not working on Liquid, who I thought might be a good Blitzcrank player. I think I've seen him doing with people and running that before. But we do see a first pick Darius, so that's kind of interesting. We also saw Darius be picked in the KTRB versus GG Game 2. Darius got like a huge lead, but then he couldn't do too much in team fights, so hopefully the same doesn't happen for Curse here. But he does tend to have a dominant laning presence, but when it gets into team fights, he is kiteable.
Yep, so, I mean, Darius really obviously does a lot of damage, is great in lane, and, yeah, I mean, we'll see how he does in these team fights, but the next 2 picks are going to come out from EA. Still waiting on those. I should actually have a timer here just to see how much time they actually take without the clock running down on them.
Well, you can just look up at the arranging custom game and go from there.
That would require more work, as with having a timer, which is why I don't have a timer.
Oh dear, troublesome times. But I'm excited about the next possible couple of pickups. I don't know what Gasty's going to default to now that all of his champions have been banned out. He has some others up his sleeve. And I mean, we've seen this happen before where his cat and Akali got banned out, but I just can't remember for the life of me what he does pick up after those two. Um, Time will tell. Time will certainly tell.
Yep, and hopefully within the next 20 minutes, or else this game will not start.
Yes. Disappear into the ethers. There will be no more of this. And forever on, we will be forgotten. It'll be a sad, sad day. And we won't even be able to start back up the game.
Yep, and actually, Vi and Trist being picked up. Vi is a champion that sometimes sees a ban, but with all these targeted bans, wasn't targeted in the banning phase, so being picked up for the jungle. And Tristana, who's been actually seeing a lot more play recently as the AD carry.
Well, Tristana got a huge nerf. I think level 18, she got like 18% attack speed bonus because, of course, her scaling attack speed per level went up. Oh, and over the course of time, she keeps on getting these small bonuses. Her E range got increased to the length of her auto attack range, which means it's like 708, I think, at level 18. So certainly some really nice bonuses to her, and she's one of the champions that benefits most as well from the Blade of the Rune King being more of a viable choice. Certainly when it was really overpowered, she was, that was the obvious first rush item on her. Now that it's been toned back, it's still very popular, and it makes a lot of sense because she has burst, but her burst isn't tied to her AD ratios like a lot of other AD champs have going on for them, such as Graves. Most of her burst comes from actually abilities fueled by AP, and even if she doesn't build AP, their base is pretty good. So certainly getting that extra little attack damage bonus or that extra little active from Bilgewater Cutlass or the Blade of the Rune King really helps her finish off her opponents.
Yep, and I mean the Blade of the Rune King has seen some. They got that little hotfix which changed. I think some of its attack damage and the price. I'm not sure.
It increased the price by like 300 to 500 and took away a significant amount of attack damage. In essence, like they over-nerfed it, right? Said that they over-nerfed it. They did it purposely because everyone was buying it, and so they wanted to scale back the buying. But it's still an incredibly useful item. It gives everything you kind of want as an AD carry, that attack speed, attack damage, a nice active that helps you kite or catch up to people, and the lifesteal is also really keen. So we're seeing more picks come down. Kate and Jarvan 4. Jarvan 4, of course, very popular in the jungle, can also run top mid, but we do see mostly him in the jungle. And now Zyra and Yorick pickups, and I really like those two, especially when they go together, because essentially it means that your team can live for a really long time. Yorick will make a ghost of someone, Zyra will die, but we'll get that final little extra burst from her thorns, her passive, that allows her to do that line attack, true damage. Kind of like Kog'Maw, but almost better in some sense.
Yeah, I also find it interesting that they decided to say Demacia when they first picked Darius. Seems a little bit, no, Darius is Noxus, so he's an opponent of Demacia.
Yeah, but I think it's just a single champion picked shout out, which I can respect. J4, Yell Demacia, worth it.
Yeah, and actually, wow, interesting. Thresh and Karma being picked up.
Wow.
And that's really interesting because I mean, of course, these are picks in chat, so there aren't filler champions or anything. So I mean, yeah, it's not like this is a placeholder. No, these are actually the picks that they're going with.
So their entirety of their team is Darius, Kate, J4, Thresh, and Karma. So Kate and Thresh most likely their bottom lane, Darius top lane, Karma most likely mid in that, and then J4 in the jungle would be my guess.
Yep, the Reddit link going out. If you guys want to look at it, you can just type it out, that entire thing. Should be pretty simple, right?
Yeah, or just go to Reddit and Google Reddit, AHGL, Curse vs. EA. We are ready to go. The last pickup was Kha'Zix for EA. Kha'Zix, great all-around champion, has that assassination capabilities, great utility, great movement, and good poke as well. Teams are ready, so we're going to hop right into this for the Game 1 Best of 3 series once again, and it is single elimination, so a lot is on the line.
Casters ready? Ready we are. And we're in game. I hope. Okay, there we go. No,
So
it was taking a little while, so I was a little worried. It looks like at least Curse is not doing their bans. Jinzhao was one of the bans, so it looks like
I think
EA.
they might be spelling out curse. That would be my
Oh, they
guess.
are. Oh, okay.
Uh,
They are spelling out Curse.
Little team pride there. EA, on the other hand, actually banning out the champions that they're banning out. Curse had, in fact, banned out Lux, Katarina, and Akali. I think all focused at Gasti. So they are out, and we do see Curse Noise. I don't know if that's Noise or Noise or Nice or Noise. Regardless, I'll have to figure that out. I'll have to ask him in between these games so I can pronounce that properly. But for this game, we'll just call him J4.
Yep. Curse Nuis, J4. Thresh and Karma being picked up. And on the other side, we see Vi. Oh, should we not? Wait, are we. Do we have this whole thing about how we shouldn't talk about summoners?
Yeah, don't talk about the summers. They're secrets. Don't talk.
Okay. No talking about summoners.
We do see some interesting ones. Let's just throw that out there. So anyone who's listening to us now can swap over to the stream, look, and be like, oh, I see what he means. Let's plan accordingly. But the teams are much better mannered than that. No one tries to get an advantage that way in this country, at least. For him.
Oh man, in this country. But yeah, about 40 seconds left until we are going to get into game, or not into game. They're going to be getting into game. We're going to have to wait 3 more minutes, but it's about 30 seconds until we can talk about the summoners. But one thing I want to talk about actually is that in the new patch, Jarvan is getting some nerfs, which are interesting. I think his shield is actually getting buffed, his W, but his flag is no longer going to give any more armor.
Yeah,
which is actually a pretty big hit to his flag.
Yeah, it's pretty huge, and that's kind of why you used him late game. You know, that attack speed and armor bonus for your whole team. Like Jarvan himself doesn't do too much. He has a nice passive that allows him to do, you know, a little bit of extra damage, even if he doesn't build incredibly damaging. But the great thing was the team utility, and that's definitely getting taken down. And it makes sense because we've seen him so frequently in the LCS. Him and Tarek in particular, who are these champions that, you know, historically have gone underappreciated, but then when it comes down to it, you realize, oh, you're getting a couple thousand gold worth of free stats to your entire team. You know, that's reason enough to have them with you. Not even to mention, of course, that Jarvan has great utility through his CC. He has the knock-up, he has Cataclysm, which is really essential at, you know, holding down, you know, key targets, especially after he can burn their flash, and especially on champions that don't have dashes, which we've kind of seen become more and more popular. We don't have them in this 80 game, but we see a lot more Dravens lately and a lot more Misfortunes, both of who can't get out of Cataclysm unless they have a little help from Flash.
Yeah, and so I mean, even without the armor, he's still going to offer a lot of utility. So I mean, I think Riot thought that having that armor there was just a little bit too much utility for somebody who is, you know, really tanky and provided so much utility from the jungle or in any other lane too. But now that we are in this loading screen, or this delay time, we can talk about the summoner spells. And one thing I want to talk about is the teleports on either side. Liquid going with the teleport on Karma, and Yorick going with teleport on EA side.
Yeah, it is a little bit interesting. You know, Liquid didn't start off with that teleport, switched to it later on in the go-around. Certainly a lot more mid laners are picking it up, but Karma, in my mind, seems to be like a champion, especially early on, who you really just want to, you know, farm up the lane, you know, keep pressure on her own lane, and, you know, out-farm the opponent. That seems to be the main goal. And you don't really provide as much, like, burst as most other mages do at 6. I mean, and that's why you run a lot of, you know, you run teleport on a lot of other ones like Ryze, like Katarina, because they can put out so much damage. But Karma's damage is pretty limited in the early levels, I feel. But of course, we might see Liquid pull something out, and it does kind of remind me. Zekint would always run AP Janna with teleport, and would sometimes go top, sometimes go mid, and there were a lot of clutch, you know, shield saves. So Karma certainly does have that potential.
So, on the other hand, Yorick is, I mean, he's the top laner, so we see top laners sometimes taking teleport, but I mean, he's one of those champions that really just kind of bullies people in lane, and I mean, it doesn't really need that teleport as much to get back to lane in top, but I'm not sure about his ability to gank other lanes with teleport either.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't really have hard CC. He has his W, which will slow people down, but it's not massive. And he's going up against a Darius, and a lot of people will kind of count Yorick as a counter to Darius, and to some extent he is. He can really poke Darius down, but his weakness is getting all in, and Darius is one of the best at all inning, because Yorick's strength is poke and sustain, and his weakness is probably just all in battles. So we're gonna have to see how that goes, especially without him running Ignite. He doesn't want to get into a full-blown 1v1, fight to the death with Darius, because he's certainly going to lose that. The other thing kind of interesting is these bottom lanes. I don't really know if I like the Thresh-Caitlyn combo. Like a lot of CC potential there, but not a lot of burst coming from Caitlyn. What do you think of that matchup bottom lane? Thresh-Caitlyn versus Tristan of Zyra.
I mean, that's going to be annoying for... I mean, it could potentially be pretty annoying with the harass from Caitlyn and the threat of the hook from Thresh. So Zyra and Tristan are going to have their work cut out for them, like positioning well. But yeah, I mean, Thresh, his pull really is, if he lands it, Caitlyn isn't going to necessarily be able to follow up on that with a lot of damage. What she is going to be able to do is put down a trap and maybe just get the chain CC just going, so that with the trap and with Thresh's Flay, they can CC whoever for a very long period of time.
Yeah, I always remember that Taric stun and the Taric Dazzle into the trap combo from Caitlyn, but that kind of rarely worked in my opinion. But we are seeing both teams kind of rush off here, and EA has something in mind. They're heading straight towards Curse's blue buff.
Yep, so they are, pinging along the way. The Kazakhs going in, rushing into that bush, getting there really quickly, and going to wait for somebody here. And actually, they are going to walk into this bush, and they're going to catch them. A fight's going to break out. Jarvan getting hit a little bit, but Kazakhs has to be very careful. He's also taking a lot of damage. Zyra throws out some thorns and catches some people. The ward goes down. They both have to, actually, EA has to back off. Gassy is pretty low, about half health. Throws out some poke. And they're still chasing this, actually, and I think Darius might want to apprehend here, but a ward goes down so they can see it going down, and actually they do kill it, so managed to put down a ward and kill that ward in the process.
Yeah, so that was kind of unusual. Gasty got there, really, really quickly ahead of the enemy team, did a really good job in that, but his team wasn't up there, so he took the brunt of the damage. No summoners wasted. And everyone kind of gets off scot-free, but Curse did get the advantage of putting that ward down in the enemy jungle. It is getting pinked now, but you ideally don't want to pink your own jungle so early on. You don't want to be forced to waste that ward.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of the reason for that is because that ward would give the other team a lot of information about the whereabouts of the jungler. So, pinging that is, they really just didn't want that information to get out. Actually, Zyra stealing a wolf from Vi here, which is unfortunate for Vi, but it's going to be fine. He's going to get some help from the rest of her team. Jarvan over on the other side, going to start on the red, so going to start on that with the help of Caitlyn and Thresh.
Yep, indeed. And the other thing to consider is Vi, of course, is carrying that exhaust instead of flash, so that makes her ganks a lot better and her jungle invade potential pretty good, but the weakness is that, of course, if she gets caught, she's not going to have a great escape. So we do see her taking QE. I think maybe just took to Q because of that level 1 fight. A lot of I'm not certainly sure after the nerf, but most Vi's would go with W just because it helps clear out those big camps so fast early on.
Yep, ward coming down both at top and at mid. Though no ward's down at bot yet, so interesting because the bot is usually the best warded place because of the supports. But both junglers look like they're just kind of going with their own jungle. Going to clear a little bit. Jarvan choosing to go back up towards his own blue.
Yep, nice little apprehend there by Darius, but Darius doesn't want to go all in yet, so he just took kind of the worst of that fight. Yorick doing a good job so far. That ward is going to spot out Vi, and she's just going to head back to town. Meanwhile, bottom lane, quite a bit of exchanging back and forth.
Yep, some damage goes down on Biggle Buns, and a pink ward going down so that Thresh can take care of that, so it can be more of a terror down from this bush, threatening with those pulls. Biggle Buns is going to have to be a little bit careful. He is pretty low, and he has that Doran's Blade to try to get some health back, but isn't able to do that as much. Both AD carries, actually, interestingly enough, did decide to go for the Doran's Blade start.
Yeah. And the great thing about Karma is she can really punish AD champions, because when they get close to minions to auto attack them, she can use shield, she can auto attack them, and really just put on the hurt. And so far, Liquid is taking advantage in that mid lane. Does have a little bit of a lead, 19 to 13 there, and that might grow just over the course of time, just because Karma does do so well at punishing those melee champions.
Yep. Over at top, we saw Vi gank in lane this time, and she went in with the exhaust, but and managed to blow a flash, but nothing more came of that. Vi going in might be looking for a gank over here. Some fighting going down at bot. Bigglebun is really low. He's gonna have to be really careful. He has like around a 200 health left.
Ooh, and that jump mid.
Oh, going in at mid with that slow from Karma, but she's actually backing off a little bit, not really doing too much. So 2v2, really not ending up with anything for either side. Meanwhile, Tristana goes back, careful, being very careful because she is so low. Jarvan going over to. Is he now? He's gonna do a little bit of counter jumping.
Oh, look at the sneaky Vi though.
Yep, Vi is like, coming around.
Not giving up.
Back and is going to go in on this flash coming out from Karma. So she's going to be safe. Is at full health, so is just fine over here. Low on mana though, so isn't going to be able to use her spells as much. But Jarvan is going to take that opportunity, go up top, and go around, circumvent the ward, and try to get a gank off on Yorick.
And this could be trouble.
Yeah, actually, a flash going perfectly out avoids that knockup, so gets away. But flash is down on either side for the top lane.
Yeah, really good job flashing that CC. I'm always like prone to wait and be like, maybe I'll get out without flash, but he was not going to get out of there without flash that time. So really good job by Yorick. 20 CS, pretty even with that Darius. The big difference is down bottom where Caitlyn has 36 CS to the 21 from Bigglebuns.
Yep, and actually Yorick getting chunked down a lot. Vi coming in though for the gank. The ward did run out recently, so Darius did not see this, but he's fine. Just going to walk back.
Yeah, luckily for him, no red buff on Vi. Didn't want to follow that up. Didn't have exhaust either, so no sale on that gank. So the junglers have been so aggressive so far, but nothing has come of it. And so far, just a 200 gold lead from Curse.
Yep. One thing that's interesting though is the actually we didn't talk about this in the summoner champion select, but the summoner spell on Tristana is a cleanse, and there aren't very many cleansable summoner skills on the side of Curse. Actually, Thresh taking a lot of damage. He's gonna have to be careful. Does flash out from this, but is going to have to. He's gonna stick around. Doesn't have any potions, so he's gonna have to still be careful. He's probably not gonna be able to hook anybody, but is going to just kind of stay around for the wards and just to be there for moral support.
Just to give presence. I mean, Caitlyn's been doing a really good job farming, but she has knock-on back, whereas Tristana has. So Tristana is going to be able to catch up in this farm here, and Tristana also does naturally, of course, farm very fast. So that gives her the opportunity, if she wants to roam a little bit, farm up this way, perhaps grab her own wolves. Not necessarily sure we'll see that, but still can be said Tristana can catch up and farm, in large part thanks to Explosive Shot and just how quick she does clear waves.
Yep, Jarvan coming over to help out this bot lane so that Caitlyn and that Thresh can go back. So they do go back, and Jarvan is just covering while they do that. And now now Kha'Zix is level 6 now, as is Karma, although that is less exciting than Kha'Zix being 6.
Yes, it is. She is kind of like the Udyr of support champions, except she's never played as a support, so take that for what it's worth.
Jarvan down at bot, taking a lot of damage. Tried to go in, but got snared immediately and took about half his health in damage. Vi is going to come over to mid. I might look to do a little bit of counter jungling, nope, she's just going to go for the gank on Karma. It's probably not going to get much off because Kha'Zix is so far away. Over at top, we see a fight breaking out, actually, as Yorick does manage to pick up the kill on Darius. So we're going to see, actually, Liquid fighting the Karma over here, or sorry, fighting Vi over here. So Thresh throws out the lantern. Looks like Karma is safe. Is going to back off from that. So I'm going to rewind a little bit just to catch the Yorick and Darius fight. So a bit of trading. Darius actually went very aggressive and got the ult off, but wasn't enough damage. York just managed to use his own ult and just killed him with his own damage and with his own spells.
Yeah, and I didn't jump back there with you, but it doesn't look like he had Ignite up, as it's almost coming up now. Certainly that could have helped him change the tides of battle. I'm really surprised that that fight came out that way, but good job for York picking up that kill and doing a really good job staying ahead in farm as well.
Yep, so doesn't look like much happened. I'm just kind of fast forwarding through the rest of what was happening while I was watching the that replay, but Kha'Zix going in a little bit, some harass going down on either side, and Thresh, it looks like, is having a pretty tough time getting harassed down pretty low right now.
Yeah, I mean, certainly Explosive Shot does a lot of damage, and we do see Tristana going with the kind of more popular burst and harass build with W and E maxing.
Sorry, we have Kha'Zix being jumped on. Actually, the jump does not go over the wall, so he's stuck in this ult, and he does die to the gank. So Vi was actually waiting over down at bot for a gank at the same time in lane, and she showed herself, but is still going to wait in this brush for a little while. Jarvan coming over, actually just goes to his own double golems, and it looks like they kind of want to either take this turret or do something with this, because Vi is sticking around, but Vi actually does back off from this. Gonna trying to maybe go around. The ward does spot her out, so they're gonna know she's there. Jarvan is backing. Oh no, he decides to cancel, but Vi backs off from this, so he does decide to go back.
Yeah, it was just really unfortunate by Gasti. It always sucks when you haven't evolved yet as Kha'Zix. You think you're going to make it over a wall, and you just don't quite make it there.
Yep, so Kha'Zix getting back to lane. Just going to farm up a little bit. York going over, putting down a ward, and going back to lane. He's doing a pretty good job against this Darius. Actually, Chris going for a gank down at bot using that teleport. They're going to manage to get some damage, but... actually, Caitlyn picking up a kill over there with a lot of burst damage on the Zyra, so pretty good gank eventually over there, and looks like Karma is just going to go back to her own lane. They see Kha'Zix putting down that pink ward actually, and to give himself better vision before going back to his lane.
Yeah, so, I mean, I kind of doubted the burst from Caitlyn. I kind of doubted the usefulness of the teleport for Karma, but I guess I was wrong on both accounts. But we do have an incredibly close game here still. Only 100 gold separating the teams. 2-1 is the scoreline. No turrets down, no dragons taken, so there's still a lot on this map, a lot of advantage that either team can use here.
Yep, Jarvan going to the other side of the jungle. The ward did spot him out, so they know he's somewhere in that area. Yorick, because of this, is backing off. Is playing very safe. Jarvan just puts down a ward and decides to go into the opposite jungle. Actually, he's kind of sticking around up at top. He's going to get spotted out in the ward by this as he goes back into his own jungle.
Yeah, interestingly enough, Caitlyn was, 10-15 CS ahead of Bogelbun's Tristana at one point, but now Tristana is 20 CS ahead of Caitlyn. Granted, he hasn't gone back for a long time. He went back and bought 2 Doran's blades pretty early on and hasn't been back since. Caitlyn is now sitting on a Bloodthirst, or not a Bloodthirster, a BF sword.
And actually an engage going down as the hook does land on Tristana. The ult comes out from the box from Thresh, but actually the ult coming out is going to be able to finish on Zyra. Goodness. And that is she is also very far away, so she really doesn't have anywhere to use the ult on. Kha'Zix coming down to maybe clean this up a little, using that ult to get closer. Jumps in, is going to get some damage on the Caitlyn, but it was exhausted, so she is able to live. Thresh getting some CC on before deciding to flash out, and that is going to be some good plays by the bot lane to first pick up the kill and escape from that Kha'Zix gank.
Yeah, I do not think they figured that the Zyra was going to take so much damage from that ace in the hole, but that early BF sword certainly helped out Caitlyn. And I was expecting Tristana to go over there and be a hero and rocket jump into that ace in the hole. No luck there, as it was still on cooldown. So unfortunate down bottom for EA, but once again, still so close all around the map. 300 gold separating the teams. It's anyone's ball game.
Yep, Jarvan was mid a little bit to push down this turret, do some damage to it, and it is fairly low. Darius, it looks like, is going to come over as well, so looks like they kind of want to do something here. Actually, fighting over that big Wraith, and Jarvan, it does end up getting it. So Darius is still in the area, but looks like he's going to go back up to top lane now. And Jarvan yelling out in all chat, mine. So... Yep, I think
I always love when there's those little battles over the race. You feel so good when you take the enemy's big Wraith and they're just stuck there doing nothing. York, man, York is being kind of a beast up top lane, and Darius doesn't have an answer. 58 CS to 92, and Darius also kind of went the aggressive mode, building that early brutalizer.
So up down at bottom, we see a dive going on with Karma and with the Jarvan, and Ace in the hole going down, going to do a lot of damage to Tristana, but isn't enough to kill her. The teleport coming out from York is going to go over, try to get enough damage on Jarvan, but isn't enough. Kha'Zix coming down, jumps in, does a lot of damage to Caitlyn. Caitlyn going back, the flag coming down, and Thresh is taking a lot of damage as well, but he's going to be back, so no deaths as of yet. And the Tristana ghost falls, but even though Tristana never died, so Darius up top is going to be pushing because York did have to teleport down, so we'll see if he is able to, how much damage he's able to do on this. Actually, Dragon being worked on right now by EA. It looks like they're going to be able to take this without much of a contest, though Karma and Caitlyn are coming over. Karma taking a little bit of damage, but isn't going to be able to do anything. The Dragon does go to EA, and Darius does have this tower down to about half, but the wave is coming, so he's going to have to get back in with the Dragon down. Doesn't look like he'll be able to do much more damage to the tower.
Yeah, that was a pretty crazy fight in the sense that no one died. There was so much action, and everyone just kind of walked away. Tristana, was ulted by York, but was so far behind the fight that neither her or her ghost got to get into the battle, which was really unfortunate because that could have certainly helped pick up a kill. But good job on either team. And, you really kind of get a little upset when you teleport down to bottom lane and don't pick up a kill, especially as a top laner, but they made it worthwhile for his little visit, picking up that early dragon.
Yep, so he is actually back up at top. I did save his tower, so it's not like he teleported bot and then he lost his tower in the process, which always which you always hate to happen. But so these two bot lanes going at it again, doing a lot of harass, and Thresh is actually down to below half health, and he's going to have to be more careful because he is getting very low from this harass.
Yeah, and at this point, the bottom lane is pretty even. The items both of the AD carries have very, very closely matched, farm pretty even. So certainly a gank can make the difference. As I say that, Jarvan does seem to be poking his nose around. So we'll see if Noise can do anything down here.
Yep, is spotted out by that ward though, so he's going to have to back off. Vi, meanwhile, goes up top. There are no wards to spot her out, and Darius might be in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, right now he's at full life, and he's not, the champion you normally tend to, tank under turret or try to kill under turret because he has that potential for bursting you down from half.
Going for that sped up gank down at bot again. Ace in the hole coming out, but this time Tristana does get in the way, so no kill there. Kha'Zix coming down to try to follow, but he does back off from this as it looks like nothing's happening. Actually, Jarvan, he does stick around. Jarvan going in, and actually doesn't get the knockup because he uses ult to get speed up out of there. And looks like fight is going out. The Jarvan jumps out, as does Tristana from the Jarvan ult. And actually a great Zyra ult to pop them all up, and that plan is still doing damage to them. And the little bit of heal from Karma goes out, but looks like they both want to disengage from this fight. And actually, that pink ward should see. Yep, it does see that ward, so they will probably take care of that eventually when they get around to it.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, that was a 4-man Stranglethorns. It's kind of interesting because, Thresh jumped in there, into the Cataclysm, threw down his box, but everyone just jumped out of the Cataclysm, jumped out of the box, and suddenly it was all of Curse's team stuck in one giant AoE coming down from Zyra. So good play. Meanwhile, the Vi, we mentioned, was hanging around up top, was trying to do work up top. Didn't get anything done, so a lot of time spent just hanging around in that lane against Darius, and they just really couldn't pressure it down.
Actually, the ult going down on Jarvan is going to take a lot of damage. The burst coming out really hard, and that is going to be a kill for Vi. The ult coming down and the jump coming in from Kha'Zix. So the ult from Vi and the jump from Kha'Zix, I mean. But they are able to catch Jarvan basically in his own jungle. And meanwhile, while Kha'Zix was doing that, Karma is just going over and taking the tower. I'm going to push this a little bit before backing off. So that is a tower for a kill there. And as I say that, looks like EA manages to take the bottom turret as well.
Excellent pushing from Tristana. And we kind of have Tristana, who's a great pusher, and Karma, who is also a great pusher. And Karma, Liquid playing Karma, has been all around the map, in large part thanks to the teleport, but also has just been roaming around by foot as well. So really good job there, taking down that mid turret. Mid turret, of course, always regarded as the most important turret. But we did just get a taste of what EA can do. They have incredible burst damage, you know, thanks to that assassin-like utility from both Vi and ggChronicle. One thing they do have to be worried about, though, is, you know, they are a super heavily AD team, AD-oriented team, so they have to worry about, you know, Curse at some point itemizing all armor.
Yeah, it looks like Jarvan might actually be cut out again. He does flag over the wall, but he's actually gotten the Wrath of Baron on him. Well, actually, ggChronicle gets that now, but he does manage to use his ult to speed up and finish him off. ggChronicle is going to go over towards mid now, maybe looking for Karma, but the ward does go down from Liquid. He's going to see ggChronicle coming around, and Vi does stay top, so it looks like they might want to try to push this top lane a little.
Yeah, ggChronicle seemed to be getting pushed around quite a bit in lane, but his farm is actually really good, and he's getting very big after that kill. Probably has enough to pick up the Bloodthirster here. Does indeed. Karma, meanwhile, roaming once again.
Yep, actually the ultimate coming out from the Thresh is going to be able to deal some CC. Karma coming in to pick up that kill. He's going to still chase after the Tristana, but the flash comes out to break the tether, and Tristana does get back just fine. So Karma gonna... Is she going to push this lane? Yep, you're going to try to do some damage to the tower. Tristana's coming back with ggChronicle on her tail, so that is going to be good for her. But over at top, a fight breaks out, and Darius managed to get a lot of damage to Vi, but she does finish him off. Actually, Jarvan coming in, using that ult on York, who flashes out, decides not to chase that, but he still had that flash on him, so was able to get out of it. Otherwise, that could have been his death.
Yep, and it looks like he's just going to hang out in the top lane. We see pretty even farm. Whoops. Yep. Like a little more aggression.
Some more aggression over top and over at mid too, actually. Down at bot, sorry. And Jarvan going in, knocking out the Yorick is going to back off though.
Yeah, but nice farm on either team, but you do see a little bit more steady farming coming from the side of EA, just with 140, 150, and 160 on their three main champions, whereas Darius is kind of the solo laner that's been having a little bit of trouble. Is building more tanky now, and that should allow him to stay in lane and, you know, maintain there, but it hasn't been easy going so far, and he is sitting at 0-2, and he's not necessarily known as a late game champion either.
And it looks like EA, they do have the pink ward here, so they know it's not warded. They're going to try to take this second dragon, and it looks like they're going to be able to take it pretty easily, as no one is there to contest, and they do take it fairly easily. And Vi goes mid. Actually, ggChronicle is going there, putting down the pink ward. He's been putting that pink ward there a lot. Wants to make sure that he has vision of it, and the enemy team doesn't have vision of it. So Yorick going to teleport up to top to save this tower, and it seems he does prevent it from dying, so he's going to clear this wave and force Darius to back off.
Yeah, I was pretty excited about the potential of a teleport battle there once again between Karma and Yorick, but Yorick did use that cooldown, won't be up for some time, so he's, you know, pretty much going to be set in that top lane, going to continue that farming away.
Yep, actually, Karma gonna go teleport over to this ward behind. Thresh gets a pull on Zyra, and then
they don't even know.
He's gonna go after the Tristana. Tristana cleansing and then jumping, but we'll see if that is going to be worth it. The Karma does not get out of that knockup though, and Jarvan comes in with that EQ, and the Caitlyn Ace in the hole finishes Zyra off once again, chasing this Tristana now, but the flash EQ going out, but that misses actually, but he's able to get some damage on her, and she is able to jump out.
Yeah, I don't know if that was so much a miss as a really nice dodge by Biggle Buns. It's mainly semantics, but I know, you know, some people, Monte Cristo was like, oh, these teams aren't throwing games, it's like they're getting outplayed, or the other team's doing a really good job. In that case, I feel like that was a really nice dodge by Tristana. Meanwhile, Jarvan getting caught out, could be trouble, there is a lantern.
Yep, the lantern is there, he does go to it, and is going to be fine, but the rest of this team is there to help him out. Vi is just going to go out of there, get out of there, because she knows that this might be a lost cause. a lot of damage being done to Yorick, but it's taking them a long time to actually kill him, and once he dies, he's going to come back and try to get a kill right here, doing a lot of damage to the Darius, who's trying to do his best to get back, and is he going to be able to get the kill? And he does.
Oh my goodness!
Wolves picks up that kill, and they do finally kill the Ghost, but a great way to make that a certain death a trade for him.
Yeah, it did not look like he should have been able to come out of there with the kill. I just figured Karma was saving a shield just for kind of the end there. Just one more soul shield would have saved Darius. Did not in fact do that. Was a little bit surprised, and now they trade 1 for 1. So really good showing once again by Yorick.
Yep, Vi was actually a little bit caught out there, but was able to get back out. Kozik's putting in a little bit of poke.
Look at EA though. EA's dancing around. It's 2 versus 4 here. They're like, oh, we don't care. You can't have this blue buff for
the
free.
red buff on Caitlyn is helping her get some damage on Vi for free. She does have to get out of there. Is seeing the danger of this, so they're just gonna back out of this. The pull going out on Vi, and but he just kind of says, "Oh, I don't really have anything to follow up with that." So lets her go, and Karma is back in this mid lane farming up.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good job by Curse to, maintain and grab that blue buff for themselves, but bottom lane, wasn't there the whole time. They got some free farm, they got a little extra damage on this bottom lane turret, so really good job by EA, throwing around weight that they necessarily didn't even have. They made a much bigger showing of themselves than they were, and we do see Yorick has completed his Muir mana, so that's really exciting for him. And the other really exciting thing I see on him is a Zeke's Herald. I love that item pickup. I think that's kind of one of the underappreciated items in the game right now, and especially, as a top lane bruiser, kind of wants to build some auras, that is great, because it's going to help out his Tristana and his entire AD team so much, while not obviously making him weaker as we see him go to town.
Yep, and actually, it's interesting because you said, he's not very good at all-inning, but just goes in, all-ins Darius. It would have had him fine all to himself if Kha'Zix didn't come in, but, I mean, it was fine, just basically almost full health the entire fight. Karma going in, trying to get a slow on the Vi. Vi does get out of there with her mobility, but yeah, it looks like most people are grouping mid. Caitlyn is bot right now, but there are 4 mid for EA, and Kha'Zix is trying to come here to help out. Looks like Curse is kind of backing off a little bit, just going to the jungle and actually going to bot lane, and they might want to try to push this bot lane down.
Yeah, I like the rotation. They kind of caught EA by surprise here, but they're just going to have to back up. They're not going to get too much damage on that bottom turret, and we might see, I was going to say we could see a 5v5, but Darius isn't even around, so her certainly is going to try to pick a better fight than that. And at this point in time, I really like EA just because they have that early aura item, where on the other side there's no aura picked up. We do have the locket, which is a very good item on its own, but it doesn't have the same effect as that constant aura, I feel, of the Zeke's Herald, which is really benefiting everyone on the team, minus perhaps Zyra, but I've seen her auto attack too, so I'm not going to count that out.
Yep, those little damages count. So it looks like they're actually going to go swing over mid. They're going to try to push this down. It looks like because almost all of Curse is bot, they're going to be able to do some significant damage and probably going to be able to take this down. Darius is top in the. It looks like three people on Curse is trying to get back to try to defend, while Karma stays up at top or up at mid or down at mid, I guess.
Yeah, she does have that teleport up, and Yorick has his teleport as well. So he's going to, run back to that top lane, has that home guard boot, and he can teleport in there as well. So we do see mid lane getting taken out. Karma is heading back to base.
Actually, Kha'Zix going in and doing a lot of damage to Caitlyn is going to back off from this as Jarvan comes over, but was able to do a lot of burst damage, and with that, I think they're satisfied with taking 2 turrets, and they're just going to back off from this.
Yeah, and they forced Karma to back up. I think Karma must have got hit by minions or something around like that, because I'm pretty sure she intended to go back, wasn't able to, and now the next dragon is up, and EA has really been on top of their game, getting each one of these dragons, and that is going to be essentially a free dragon.
Yep, alright, they are able to take it down as pretty well. It looks like Curse had to just defend their mid and just clear waves, so they weren't able to come and challenge it in time. Jarvan was coming over, but it was pretty late on that. So that is, I think, what is that, 2, 3 dragons in front
I
of
think
us?
that's the third dragon. I
Yeah.
think they started at 15, which means 15, 21, 22, and 28. Yep, that lines up just about right. They've been pretty on the ball getting them as soon as they've come up for the second and third one, so really good showing. And now a 5,000 gold lead, which is, more than 10% at this time. It's pretty substantial.
Yep, and we'll see if they decide to do something, because it seems like they know that they have that gold lead. They know they've been taking objectives. They have more towers now at this point with the push down mid. They have more dragons, so they know they have that global gold advantage. But we actually see Thresh checking this. Actually, is going to start attacking the Baron. They're going to do Baron because they know that a lot of EA has gone back, so they're going to try to do this as quickly as possible. Thresh is taking a good amount of damage, but the shield from Karma is going to help him do it, because that is going to be so useful in blocking a lot of Barons.
This is going to be done.
Yeah, they're going to be able to finish this. It's very low. They do finish it out. The ward goes, or the goal goes down, but Thresh goes in, hooks the Yorick, and Flash again coming out. Jarvan ult comes out as well, and Kha'Zix coming in with that jump, but he is exhausted, so he is not able to do that burst damage to force somebody down, and looks like all of Curse is just fine, and just like that, half the gold lead is gone.
Yeah, half the gold lead, and at this point, Curse is probably the stronger team, just based on the fact that, the gold 4,000 apart, but Baron buff generally gives a bigger bonus than that, so you would imagine that they could potentially take this next fight. Additionally, Caitlyn does have 3 kills up on Tristana, which is a fairly large amount. Now, Tristana scales a lot better, has a really good attack speed bonus, but what level does she have that up to? It is level 4, so she does get a 75% attack speed bonus for 7 seconds, which is pretty substantial. Caitlyn gets none of that. She does have the passive headshot. It's not quite as good, but those 3 kills certainly help her even up the score. IE and Static Shiv on Caitlyn, compared to the IE and Bilgewater Cutlass and a pickaxe over there on Tristana, maybe going for an earlier Last Whisper.
Yeah, and remember that she does also have Yorick with her, so that aura attack speed aura is going to be helping her out as well.
Yeah, it's actually an attack damage aura now, and lifesteal, yeah. They changed that around.
They changed it, yeah.
not meaning to call you out, but I mean, it is one of the kind of things that has changed for the worst. I used to love the old Stark's Fervor, but Zeke's Herald, also a pretty good item, as I was mentioning earlier. Certainly should help out the team, but I don't know that EA really wants to fight anytime soon. They are kind of all positioning themselves around this mid turret, expecting kind of a forward thrust coming from Curse, just a brute force run down the middle. But as I say, that Tristana goes ahead, jumps around, jumps away, isn't too worried about it.
Yep, and with that Baron buff, it actually looked like Curse wanted to try to do something, but Darius is going back now, and that's in full vision because of that ward here, so EA knows that Darius isn't there, so they're not going to be pushing up the team. Karma is down bot, and she's actually going to back off from this as I say this. She does have teleport up, so she might have been trying to do a little bit of that split pushing without the rest of the team, but most of the team is gone. The ward going down from Thresh, and Vi trying to take that ward out, but doesn't manage to, so that ward survives. But yeah, I mean, not much grouping going on, just some spread out pushing, but not much being done right now.
I almost wonder if Curse has really thought they've been in this lead the whole time, because if they weren't really watching Darius's CS, everywhere else they seemed they were kind of equal or ahead, and they've had the kill lead almost the entire time. As you mentioned, obviously they are 1 turret behind, and a lot of dragons, so we know that they're behind, but I don't even know if they know. And certainly now with Baron, they are strong. They are certainly very strong.
Yeah, Baron going out and pulling the Yorick, but Yorick does back off, and he's actually going to be able to get that health back pretty easily. Karma doing a pretty good job with that split push, taking down a turret. He's going to actually put that ward down. I'm going to see Kha'Zix coming over, and is going to just rejoin the team.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because they had Kha'Zix fighting off against Karma, which makes sense on one hand, as Kha'Zix can normally hold her off, but Yorick will probably do a better job of holding her off, and he has teleport to match Karma's teleport. But yeah, a lot of damage going down on this turret. Good amount of poke coming from Caitlyn here.
Yep, and meanwhile Karma just goes back to her split pushing ways. Darius is hiding over here in the corner trying to get a pull, but ward is there, which gives EA vision, so they know not to go too near to that wall. Some traps coming out from Caitlyn. Those 3 traps lining the lane. So they are going to just keep on doing some more damage to it. Caitlyn shooting that tower. The Ibrand comes out, but it doesn't hit anybody. Karma coming over, just walking through. The jump from Tristana did come out as well, but didn't really get back really as much as just kind of jump around a little bit. But after that tower, it looks like Curse is just going to back off from this. They want to clear that top lane, and EA is just going to take that, is going to farm up their own jungle and prepare for the next lane push or objective.
Yeah, and we're once again kind of in an interesting place where Curse's Baron buff is down, I'm pretty sure. There are actually still almost 3,000 gold behind, but EA, after that, bunch of aggression coming from Curse, they're just like, oh, okay, we'll just kind of back off. We'll let you do what you want. We don't really want to engage here. But they do get yet another dragon, so they've kind of the masters of the dragon in this game. I don't even know what to say about that other than 4 feed dragons is a lot of free gold.
Yep, Caitlyn actually put down a trap there. Was a little bit scared, so put that trap there, and that they did step on it, so it allowed her to see where the team was. They took those rays and went back to mid lane, but looks like York and Vi are just going to back, so and as is Zyra, so EA just backing off, regrouping before they group up again. It looks like it's going to be top lane that Curse tries to push.
Yeah, and still kind of an interesting thing here, because we do see, such a heavy AD team coming down from EA, no Randuin's Omens, not even a Sunfire. We do see the Warmog coming down from Darius, but I feel like they could be itemizing a lot heavier towards armor and defense. Of course, they do have Jarvan, who's, the best jungler to get when the enemy team is all AD related. Outside, maybe Rammus and Malphite, also really nice, but they don't provide the same AoE.
Aprion coming out, and the flash pull from Thresh, trying to kill this York. He's very low, and the ultimate coming out from Darius is going to get the kill. The ultimate coming out from Jarvan, but Tristana just jumps out, but they do manage to pick up Zyra as that tower goes down. So 2 kills along with that tower. Actually, Karma came up from mid as she was split pushing mid, so they have that tower now. Looks like Darius is actually just going to back off from this, and they might just really just try to heal up, buy some items, and regroup before they go for this next Baron, which I forget when it was, but it should be coming up pretty soon.
Yeah, it'll be up at 36:04, so about 20 seconds from now should be right back up, and we see Curse already preparing for it. And really, the complexion of this game is just kind of completely swapped around. And we see, from the outsider, spectator's point of view, EA is still in the lead. But if you were just watching the last 10 or so minutes of this game, Curse has been doing everything they want. They've been pushing down towers, picking up picks, and of course took that one Baron. And now, thinking about this next one, doesn't look like they are going to go for it. They do have Liquid's teleport up, so she could be in there at any moment. But, and by she I mean Karma, of course. But yeah, so far not too much happening. I love when you put that ward in the back and then aggro Baron to make sure the enemy team doesn't go on it immediately. But that Oracle really paying dividends for Curse.
Yep, that trap going out, gonna see the entire team. As Vi steps on it. Karma just working on this blue buff as the Baron dance is going on. Gonna pick it up for herself. And yeah, both teams have oracles. The pink ward actually going out, and that is going to be taken out. Some harass going down as wards are just being put. Oh, actually, Vi does get caught,
that does
and the trap does
the upper hand
get her,
misses.
but yeah, no initiation there. Although that was a very good combination by the first 2 parts were very good, but it wasn't good enough at the end. So no initiation there. The Baron dance is going to keep on going. They're just destroying wards and sending down wards as fast as they can. Actually, Vi coming in. It looks like she might go for this initiation.
Wow.
It's going to get a lot of damage on Thresh, and is going to actually gonna keep a lot of them there. So the Zyra ult is a lot of work. Now they're gonna try to focus on the Darius. Meanwhile, Kha'Zix over there picks off the Caitlyn, and now he's gonna jump back in. Is going to get a lot of damage with the help of Tristana on Darius. And Darius actually managed to pick up a kill there on Vi as well, but Karma is the only one alive on the side of Curse, and I think this is what we're talking about. We know that EA is strong, and they just showed it right now in that team fight, but it just seemed like Curse had the advantage, and they did for a long time, but They managed to fight they fought very well, and they managed to fight 4-1. Karma's still here, so it's not clear if they're going to be able to take this Baron right now. She goes in, and she's actually doing a very good job, but actually does manage to pick up Zyra with a little bit of help from Baron, I believe. But Zyra does help out in the end with her passive to take the dragon down, or the Baron down, sorry.
That's really funny. It would be even more funny if like the team didn't get credit for the kill since she was dead. Got Baron buff. But yeah, really good showing. That team fight. I think that team fight was mostly about positioning. I think Liquid was just too far spread off from the group. But certainly really good showing. Really a lot of aggression from Tristana. I don't know how much I love seeing that when the AD carry Rocket jumps in. But in the beginning of that fight, at least he did have that Yorick Omen of Death on him. So. Even had he gone down, still would have been, in the fight for a little bit longer thanks to that ultimate from Yorick. But overall, really good showing by EA. They come out of that fight, I think it was 5 for 2 and a Baron, and now they've kind of regained the earlier lead they had, back up to 6,000 gold here.
Yep, and even more than that, they do have the Baron buff on themselves as well, so that is going to be really good. Or at least on 3 of their members. Vi was dead and Zyra did die. Apparently, even if you kill it, if you're dead, you don't get the buff.
Yeah, that's too bad. It's not like Karthus. I mean, Karthus, if you kill other people with blue buff or red buff while you're dead, you get that when you respawn. Apparently not the same for Zyra. Too bad for her. But, we do see the makings of a Randuin's Omen here by Darius. And Darius has done a good job of catching back up in the game. He has 207 farm now to, Yorick's 235, whereas Yorick was really kind of dominant early on. But doesn't yet have that Randuin's, and this team is so heavily attack damage based. I mean, Yorick does do some magic damage. Tristana's, E and jump do magic damage as well as her ultimate. But I mean, everyone on the team outside of Zyra, who has been landing a magnificent, ultimates throughout the course of this game, everyone else is, almost wholly AD based.
Yep, and so yeah, I mean, I think they do. There are 2 Randuins actually on the side of EA. Randuin's is a pretty good item right now, but so they're gonna be able to stop a lot of that AD damage, and if Tristana does decide to target him, he's going to be able to slow her attack speed as well.
Yep. I mean, Randuin's on both teams makes sense. I mean, against Curse, it makes sense because Karma isn't, the same level of AP damage you normally think from AP carries.
Yep, actually a great snare coming down from Zyra, but it looks like most of it is just poke damage, even though there's a lot of fighting going on. But yeah, I mean, both teams are still pretty healthy right now. The heal from Karma going out, and actually it looks like EA is going to back off from this, deciding not to keep sieging this turret. They might want to go for this dragon again, which they should be able to take easily because of they are, it looks like, going for this dragon. Should be able to take it very quickly and for free. So still Masters of the Dragon, able to keep that dragon control. I think they, what is that, 4 dragons now to 0
I think that's 5.
5? Okay, so 5 dragons to 0 by Curse. So
yeah, so really good showing by EA. Just increasing their lead here. One good thing that Curse did, I don't know if it was intentional or not, it's not something I normally think about doing, but I've seen pros do it a lot, is when the enemy team takes Baron, try to push out the lanes that you don't think the enemy is going to push. Therefore, for instance, EA pushed down middle, but both top and bottom were pushing the other way, and that made them, essentially want to go back because they were losing, essentially a lot of farm and probably would have taken some damage on their turrets as well. So they decided, okay, let's go back, let's regroup, let's buy again. I'm now interested to see if they can really make this Baron worthwhile. They should be able to get an inhibitor out of this. Are they going to be able to? That is the question.
Yep, that Baron buff is still on them, but let's see how much time is left. There's still a decent amount of... No.
There's still a decent amount of no time left.
That's the... I was actually looking at the wrong
buff.
Yeah, I was looking at the Tristana's lizard buff, so yeah, it looked similar enough. But no, it ran out. So they do not have the Baron buff anymore, but they are still able to siege down towers. If they do decide to do that, Tristana's range is... she is level 18, so it is at the max... I forgot what her range is at max level.
708, I believe.
708, okay.
Oh, it actually says 703.
Yeah, I thought it was 703.
Okay.
That sounds right to me. Actually, Darius flash apprehend, but looks like Yorick was able to flash out of that one. So they're going to try to go up top now. Kozak's backing here. He's going to be able to back in peace. And looks like they're just kind of searching for people, hunting down wards, going to camp this brush. Hope somebody comes to face check it.
I like the strategy. I always like, teams setting up for picks. When you're behind, you can't go 5v5. The only thing kind of left to you is trying to go for those picks. But EA doing a pretty good job of sticking together here. Big ol' buns, though. Oh, big ol' buns.
Yep.
Oh, big ol' buns. Okay, you're okay.
He's still trailing behind a little bit. Does jump forward because all of Curse is behind, and looks like a fight might break out soon. Vi goes in, does not use that ulti yet though, and Jarvan goes in. Another Zyra ult goes out, but it only gets Darius in a knockup. He does finish off Zyra in the fight, and now it looks like the fight is basically in two pieces, and Tristana coming into the fight is going to be doing so much damage, is going to help finish off this kill on Karma, does pick up the triple kill there, so they did a great job in that fight, and they are going to now push down mid. That is an ace, and only one death of Zyra there.
Yeah, and 40 seconds plus on everyone. I think they could finish this. It would be pretty close. I don't know if they're going to want to go for it because it would be a little bit dangerous, but I think they potentially could. Yorick tanking up a little bit. We see the Locket of Iron Solari popped. Could have used it in the fight. Obviously didn't need it. Did fine without it. But yeah, 17 seconds yet. They certainly can do some damage on these turrets. Tristana is a beast, so these turrets are going to go down fast.
Yep, and they are indeed going down fast. The second turret at least is going to go down. Jarvan still has 5 seconds left. GG is going out as they are able to take the Nexus and take the first game in this best-of-3 series.
Yeah, it's a really good showing. We see the all kind of AD team prevailing. We see that a lot lately. Just thanks to Armor Shred and thanks to the strength of these AD assassins and tanks. So game 1 to EA, and now they have to take one more to take down the best-of-3 series. Of course, they are the underdog. They are the 6th seed here, so they're going to be doing their best to take this home. I don't think they want to see this stretch to a game 3.
Yep, so I just got the invite. The game you were trying to join no longer exists.
Oh, I'm in it. I don't know what happened to yours.
Can you
I'm just kidding.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, I believed it. Like, stuff like that happens all the time.
It does indeed.
So we'll see if we can get another invite before we get back into game, because we need invites to get into games.
Not always true, but yes, for the most part.
Well, we specifically right now here need invites.
Yes, indeed, indeed. I mean, I really liked that game. It was close all throughout. I thought, at some point EA was just going to run away with it, but Curse came back around, took that Baron, really made it a really close matchup. And I mean, I love Karma. I love the idea of Karma. But, late game, I just have to wonder, could they have had someone that would have been a little bit better for their team comp? Obviously, the Assassins, the Kazakhs, was not really afraid of Karma. And really no one on the side from EA was afraid of Karma, as they all just built Randuins as opposed to, really itemizing for any sort of magic resist at all. I think they did pick up an Aegis, but yeah, overall the team certainly wasn't afraid of getting burst down by her.
Yeah, actually, when I got the invite for this one, it said blind pick for some reason, which is really weird.
That is weird. It seems to be okay now that we're in the game, though.
Or maybe I just read it wrong. I don't know. Maybe I'm seeing things. Yep, so looks like we have this game made. We have EA this time on Team 1 and Curse on Team 2.
Yeah, so a little swapperoo here. Generally, teams favor the blue side. I always like being on blue side. Double Golems, so strong. We see a lot of teams on purple side, or red side, as it were, swap up the lanes, go 2v1, because they don't want to give up that early blue, double Golems advantage. Well, certainly that's a big thing in solo queue as well. In solo queue, I feel like you can kind of risk it and go to the enemy's double Golems and interrupt the enemy. But when you do that in ranged teams, that's just kind of asking to be surrounded and killed. So we are seeing similar bans. Jax, Xin coming down for EA, as they did last time. Cat, and I imagine we might see Akali and Lux again as well.
Yep, these are actually the exact same bans, and actually might be in the exact same order, except being swapped around.
For the teams, yes.
Yeah, on the teams, so We'll see if, I mean, it looks like they are putting some thought into it because there are pauses between the bans, but in general, these seem to be the same bans as last time. But I mean, we'll see if they decide to ban one of the champions used in the last game because I mean there were some pretty good champions used in that game as well.
Yeah, I mean, the game was really close. Do they think York was a problem? Maybe. Do they think Kha'Zix was a problem? That could definitely be the case.
Oh, and they actually do think apparently because they did ban out the Yorick.
Yep, so York going down, Blitzcrank going down, which is the same as last game. So York was kind of targeted. Now we'll see maybe Kha'Zix as well, or do they go back to Akali? I expect the Akali ban here.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So the Akali does get banned out. A lot of times, you don't want to overreact to the previous game. You want to make sure you keep in mind that these are champions, even though you didn't see them in the previous game. That was because you banned them out, and you banned them out because they're very good with these champions. So, I mean, just because the Kha'Zix did pretty well in that last game doesn't mean you shouldn't ban out the Akali here, and it is banned out. So we'll see if Gasti wants to pick up that Kha'Zix once again.
Yeah, I feel like Liquid actually did a really good job of containing Kha'Zix in the early game. It's just in the late game there wasn't anyone who really could deal with him, and the rest of the team as well. Like if they went after Kha'Zix, well then Tristana got free roam, and Yorick got free roam, and everyone was doing just a lot of damage. And we actually see a first pick Darius this time. So we saw a first pick Darius last game, but it was for Curse. And this time we see a first pick Darius, but it's for EA.
Well,
the last game,
on the other hand,
I don't know.
Yeah, Curse did the favor of banning out Yorick for them, so there'll be no Yorick to pester this Darius around.
Yeah, and that is kind of one big counter. And Nerever, the top laner for EA, does play a lot of Darius, and so perhaps it was kind of a pickup last time to keep him away from that champion. And the only other people that really come to mind that counter him are, Teemo to a small extent, and Elise does it pretty well as well. But I don't know necessarily we'll be seeing either of those. I am interested in seeing what Curse will pick up to combat him.
Yeah, I mean, Teemo isn't really seen as much, and it's really tough to play with Teemo against Darius because you have to be really careful about that apprehend. Your auto attack range is pretty short, and it's right near the range of that apprehend, so you have to be very careful. But Elise has been played a lot and is very strong in top lane, so that could be seen. J4 and Kale being picked up. Jarvan, again, is a very good jungle, but Kale this time being picked up could go top, but likely going to go in the mid lane.
Yeah, I mean, actually, I completely forgot about that. Kale tends to be a good counter pick to Darius as well. We saw that especially in the Season 2 championships. TSM Dyrus was a big, Darius player, but Kale was kind of the counter pick towards him. And Kale's a counter pick to a lot of people, especially in the team fights. Intervention can really mess up Darius's Noxian Guillotine. In the sense that, of course, it won't kill the first person and won't get the resets. So that certainly sets him back. And we are seeing EA pick up Tristana once again and Vi once again. So we're going to see the same jungler matchup, probably, J4 versus Vi. And so far, 1 out of the 4 bot lane is the same. So who knows?
Yep, so, I mean, 1 out of the top lane is the same, too. It's just on the other side.
True enough.
Yep, so still waiting on the next couple picks. So it's going to be Darius, Vi, and Tristana against Jarvan the 4th and Kale so far. I mean, I think Kale has been played more in the mid lane this season with that AP Kale build, but as you said, Kale does counter Darius up at top, so I'm not actually sure where Kale is going to go at this point.
Yeah, I'm not certain either. I just know that is a decent pick against Darius. But it's a pretty good counter whether you put her in mid or you put her in top. And you can build her the same way in top lane. You can still build that, Stinger, Nashor's Tooth into Leandri's Torment. Or you can build her more AD oriented, as people were wont to do in Season 2. Yep,
though Kale did receive a couple nerfs because she was so strong, but still a very strong champion is going to be doing a lot of, if she does decide to go for that AP build, it's going to be doing a lot of AoE damage with that E that increases her auto attack range and gives the splash, and is also going to be doing a lot of damage with the Q as well as providing heals and that ultimate, which is so useful for that Darius ult.
Right, and well, she got nerfed in the sense that her Q doesn't amplify damage anymore. The Holy Reckoning doesn't do that. What it does do is it applies 1 stack for passive, which means I think 3% armor shred and magic resist all from that first hit, and the slow actually scales better, which is especially important against Darius, who is prone to getting kited later on in games, and of course good early game against him as well. And now we are seeing even more of the same from that bottom lane at Thresh Kate, and so now we just need, who was the opposing support last game?
Zyra.
Zyra. So that would make the quadfecta, make the same bottom lane matchup. I'd love to see it. I think it was a really close matchup last time, kind of just dependent on ganks. And Thresh is always fun to see play. I do feel like Tristana kind of got the better towards mid game, the better of that matchup, but we shall see. It might be a mirror matchup as last game.
Yep, and still waiting on, what is it, 2 more picks? Yep, so Darius, Vi, and Tristana, so we're still waiting on, of course, that support pick. They might want to go for Zyra again, because Zyra was landing on, landing a lot of those, landing the ultimate on a lot of people in those team fights, and did a pretty good job in general, although she did get picked off. Does get picked again, and Lux actually being picked up by ggChronicle.
Yeah,
So
that's not surprising. Lux was, of course, the one ban that Curse used last game that they did not use this game. They used instead the ban against Yorick. But I really think this pick ban session kind of goes into EA's favor. I think Nerever really likes playing Darius, and he got Darius this time. Last time he did pick up that Yorick, and it succeeded incredibly well. But I think that was kind of more of a backup champion, just someone he knew that he could play against Darius. So now that he has a champion that he is probably even more comfortable with, and ggChronicle has one of his top 3 champions, does this spell bigger trouble for Curse?
yeah, and actually they also have a bot lane that they know is that they have already won bot with against Thresh Kate, so they have to be feeling confident about that. And I mean, they have a very similar team composition. They have 3 of the same champions as last time. Of course, they don't have the Yorick to ult Tristana or the Kha'Zix to jump on people, but yeah, as you said, ggChronicle does have one of his favorite champions, and that Darius is still going to be pretty strong, even though he's not a Yorick, helping amplify the damage of Tristana.
Right, and we do see like a very heavy pick-off team, and we saw kind of the jungle matchup last game too, between that Vi and the J4. And late game, it just seemed like Vi was a little bit better. They both been incredibly tanky, but Vi did rush that Spirit of the Elder Lizard, which meant she was actually outputting a little bit more damage than Jarvan seemed to be doing, and that ultimate of hers is really ridiculous in locking people down, and it's especially ridiculous when you can lock people down in combination with Lux damage coming out. So you can use that Vi ultimate and just follow it up with the ultimate, the final spark from Lux straight away. You don't even have to land another binding because that person is sitting still for a good second and a half there.
Yeah, and I mean they could also choose to try to chain CC the champions. They have a lot of CC there. Lux has their own binds. Zyra has the snares from the root, and she has the ult as well. And Vi, of course, as you said, has the ultimate there. So a lot of CC going out. Actually, still waiting on the last picks. Morgana is the last pick. So Morgana is likely going to go to mid, and Kale goes top. So the top mid, the sister combination there.
Lore matchup, indeed. Light binding versus dark binding.
Oh, it is.
Oh, is it a double lore
matchup? Because it is the Lux stole Morgana's binding, and then we have the top lane being Kayle and the mid lane being Morgana. It needs more Garen. I agree.
Okay.
It does need more Garen. Top lane should be Garen.
Sense. And we needed Draven too, so we'd have the brothers.
Well, no, if top lane is Garen, then we wouldn't have Darius then.
Oh, by Kate. I didn't even realize. These teams clearly just picking for our amusement for the sake of all the added lore in the game. And
Big Goldmans has no idea what these guys are talking about because he just what is this lore that we're talking about? Like, there's no backstory behind these champions.
Some people would have you believe that. I mean, on the one hand, has been doing a really good job, I think, of creating that lore. On the other hand, there was like a period of time, I feel like a year, where they kind of stopped the Journal of Justices. They stopped kind of the spotlights where the people would gain entrance to the league. Yeah, the judgments. So they stopped all those things. But, you know, still there are those backstories, and I just feel like even though there's not the same league judgment, they find different ways to introduce champions. Especially they did a really good job with Quinn, you know, kind of introducing her on the sly, as it were, with those, with her notebooks, with her notes, or messages and letters written between her and Jarvan, I think it was. Regardless, you know, there are these backstories. They are entertaining. They won't give either of these teams an advantage here.
Actually, the curse deciding not to spell out curse this time.
I'm pretty sure they're saying after we win these next 2 games, we're gonna go put an all-nighter and play SimCity. They're going to say here.
I mean, apparently, because they banned out Skarner, Irelia, and Mordekaiser. But yeah, these 2 teams picking up their champions that they picked in chat. And again, as usual, EA banning out the champions that they banned out in chat. As beautiful as ever.
Yep. Gotta love them. I mean...
Oh no, it is EA, huh? So that makes sense. The reference to SimCity.
Oh, I suppose it does. I think you're saying that EA makes SimCity, which would make sense if true, and I have no idea. Absolutely zero idea. I do know that Curse, well in particular Liquid, and a number of the Curse players for their professional team do like playing a lot of SimCity. I imagine everyone else in the organization likes it too. I am a heathen. I am not interested whatsoever in that game.
I was considering it, but it actually got a lot of bad press because of the always online thing, and
and the lack of server capacity.
Yeah.
And we're also not supposed to talk about.
Oh yeah, that is true.
Their business. Regardless, good game. Everyone go out and buy it. I decided to go for Heart of the Swarm instead. Been happy with my choice there.
So
awesome campaign.
about League of Legends.
Not doing that. We can't talk about the summoners anyway. Not even interested. Not even interested. We do have 50 seconds going on here. Really, really excited about this matchup. Mainly, I want to see this top lane. Are we going to see Nerevert take it down once again, or will Curse kind of come back? I mean, Kale is a good counter matchup here. Last game, obviously, EA kind of had the counter pick, that Yorick to the Darius, but didn't have the assistance of Ignite. Didn't even matter. This time, I don't know. It's going to be tough. It's really going to be tough. I mean, Kale... Oh, sorry.
That matchup sometimes is interesting because you'll see them attacking each other and they'll both get really low, and you know they both want to use their ultimates, but they know that the second they use their ultimates, the other champion, the other one wins. So, I mean, if Kale uses the ultimate, then Darius can just wait it out and then ultimate himself, but if Darius ults, then Kale can see that and just ults. So, I mean, it's funny to see sometimes, because sometimes you just kind of see them, you know, like they really want to use that ultimate, but they're just holding back, and they're just like attacking each other, and sometimes even just like walking together, like in lane, just waiting for the ultimate to come out.
Yeah, and one thing that I remember Dyer said about this matchup in the Season 2 finals, he said, you know, he picked Darius into Kale, and he's like, I know Kale beats, you know, Darius most of the time in 1v1s. Like, 1v1, Kale will win like 80% of the time. These aren't the numbers he used. But in 2v2s, Darius wins. Like, the team with Darius generally wins, just because, you know, a lot of his damage is AoE, really easy to land on multiple people. And then when he has the choice of 2 targets to ult between, it's a lot harder to intervene that ultimate. So that is kind of the advantage there. Plus, I'm really worried about Kale's, you know, capacity in getting away from these ganks. Yes, Kale is pretty slippery, but when you have Vi and Darius on you, when are you going to use that ultimate? When are you going to use your ultimate? You probably have to use your ultimate early, or Vi is just going to kill you with her damage, with her ultimate. But if you use it early, then you can't block the intervention. So it's going to be a catch-22. Obviously, Kale will have to be very careful about those incoming ganks, and we'll see, you know, really if Zyrule decides to focus that top lane or not. Darius does get rolling really well, but as I mentioned before, doesn't necessarily provide as much to the team fights. One thing Nerevert did last game that was amazing, I thought, coming from a top laner, is picking up that early Zeke's Herald, and I think if you do that especially on a Darius, build those more support-related items, then you do remain strong as you go into late game. If you buy a Zeke's Herald, you buy a Randuin's Omen, things to really help slow down the enemy team during those team fights or boost up your own.
Yeah, and so yeah, we'll see how that turns out. Interesting to note is that Lux has teleport as their summoner spell, so they do still have a teleport on their side, but looks like Liquid did not opt to take teleport this time, so no teleport on the side of Curse.
Yep, did seem to swap that out. It's always isn't it a tough question when you're playing such a long-range middle AP champion that you don't necessarily need Ignite a lot of the time? What do you do in those situations, Zero?
Well, I mean, there are other options for the summoner spells. I mean, of course, you can take barrier. You can take exhaust. Maybe they want to jump. If they jump on you, the exhaust could help out. But again, these are very short range. When you're trying to fight, summoner spells heal as well. But I mean, it differs. You could try to be creative with your summoner spells sometimes, and it seems like teleport is one of those creative options.
Yeah, of course, I'm kind of messing with Zero to the spectators out there because we were joking earlier, and he was like, "What should I run on AP Nidalee?" and decided to go with Clairvoyance. And I think with Lux especially, Clairvoyance makes even more sense. You have better opportunity of sniping out buffs, and you don't. I mean, you really don't want to get in the thick of the combat. Like Nidalee has some situations where she'll be like, "Okay, I'm going to go into melee range now because I am stronger than them. They can't fight back." And I can go into Cougar form and beat them up. Lux never really has that. You never have an advantage by standing next to people as Lux, essentially. So it certainly makes sense to take those more utility-based summoners. And Communist Puppy, longtime Lux player, would always run with Clairvoyance. So anytime I would see him, I'd be like, oh, CV Lux, CV Lux. Regardless, no CV here. Teleport, also a really good spell.
I mean, CV would also go with the theme of Lux too, of light and
Mm-hmm.
vision. So I mean, I think I really like CV. I like it a lot. It's really nice, and even if you're not using it to use that final spark or the spears if you're in Italy, you can use it for vision of to see where the junglers are, just to get vision in general, and that's just really helpful.
I did notice, so everyone on Curse has a skin, which I generally think is bad luck. I'm a little bit, I don't know, not perplexed. I'm wondering, did Curse buy all those skins, or did they happen to get those thanks to having a professional League of Legends team? Like, because I was about to say, oh, wow, really good job of supporting Riot, and then it occurred to me, maybe they didn't actually buy those with their own money. Regardless, good job showing up 5 on 5 skins. EA running the 4 out of 5 skins, which I always think even better luck. So we'll see how it turns out. 4 versus 5 here.
Yeah, interestingly enough, we have Zyra and Vi sticking around near the red buff, and then we have Darius and Lux and Tristana over on this bottom bush. So that seems to imply Darius might want to try to get an apprehend or something down. Actually, Zyra is coming to join them, but it looks like Curse wants to go for a level 1 strategy. They're just going for this blue buff. The ward is there, so EA knows exactly where Curse is. They drop the ward down and then back off from the blue buff. Looks like they're looking to just go back into their own jungle. The ping's going down at their own blue buff and their red buff.
Wait, why is Bigglebuns going back? I am confused. Okay, he stops his backing up now, and he looks like he will head to the blue buff. So actually, I love that idea there from EA. What they did is they covered their own blue buff. They had Vi scouting out in that brush so he could watch and make sure they didn't enter through the red buff. And of course, it looked like their intent was to go to the enemy blue buff. Not actually the case. They're just going to secure their own red buff. And essentially, they've known exactly where Curse has been this whole time. And Curse has not seen anyone on EA yet, at least as far as my knowledge goes. I'm pretty sure that's accurate.
Yep, it seems to be that way. There were no words bought, so I don't think they had any vision either. Vi, just working on this red buff, is going to get that. Actually, Jarvan's going to go for this red buff, and the Wolves actually being worked on by Thresh and Caitlyn, so they're going to be able to hit level 2 earlier.
Yeah, good job there. And actually, a really rare instance where purple side will come into the lane with the EXP advantage. They did get there a little bit late, so I'm not sure if that'll hold true, but also an interesting situation where 2 mana-based junglers both started with red buff.
Yep, and actually, the pink ward going out, actually the snare goes on the Thresh, but...
Uh-oh, in mid, some danger. Woo!
Yep, Vi coming over, actually the bind goes down on Lux. She does not, she doesn't take too much damage from the Dark Soil, but she is fine. throws out a binding of Rome, but that missed. Jarvan coming over to go for a gank. There is a ward, but it's not Darius's, so he's gonna not know anything about it. Does go in. They decide the Abraham coming out. Actually, he does get the knock up on Darius. Darius is gonna fall very low. Looks like he's gonna go down, and that is going to be first blood going to Curse.
Ooh, that is not a happy Darius. He has 2 wards and 9 potions. And he's going to return to lane with both of those wards and all 9 of those potions.
Yeah, I mean, wards are great, but I mean, if you don't put them to use, they're not so good. Caitlyn taking a lot of harass down at bot, but the blue buff actually being worked on for some counter jungling. The ward, it does help them spot it out, so they are able to get that bind on, but still unable to.
Vi actually.
Oh, actually, Vi smited it. Yeah, Vi took that, so Vi does get that blue buff away, and then back off from this. Morgana puts down a ward before coming back to lane.
Yeah, so really unfortunate. Obviously, Darius thought he was going to be a little bit safe. Figured probably that Jarvan would at some point get his red buff, but Jarvan, of course, got the, or rather get his blue buff, but Jarvan just went for the red buff, straight to that level 2 gank, and it paid off. So always nice when that pays off, and a pretty substantial gold lead is coming from that.
Yep, so down at bot, a ward going out. There's a pink ward over here next to Dragon. Zyra's going to go and take care of that ward. Morgana actually going to be given this blue buff, so yeah, I don't believe Jarvan, Jarvan never got his own blue buff, so he is pretty low on mana. He's going to have to just deal with that in his own jungle for a while.
Yeah, that's kind of a nice thing. That's a nice luxury to have as a mid laner, that really early blue buff. And that just means Morgana's going to be able to farm away, just drop down those tormented soils, and just kind of laugh away as she gets free minions. And there's not too much you can do to a blue buff Morgana. Of course, has that that extra defense from Black Shield, which means she can get out of most tricky situations. Does not have flash up though for about 2.5 more minutes.
Yep. Down at bot, see Caitlyn building up once again a little bit of the early game advantage. Has a little bit more CS. They did both again start with the Doran's Blade. Vi actually is going into the enemy jungle. Is going to check over on the red buff. He's not going to see that, and he's going to stick around for a while. Might want to try for a gank, but it's just actually just walking around and going to leave. No, actually she sticks around. Gonna maybe she's actually no going top. Maybe going to look for a gank up at top, but they know that she's there or something. There's pings going down exactly where she was in that brush. She's just going to do a little bit of counter jungling. Jarvan is in the area, so
I don't know how they would know she was there. That is their ward.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that is their ward, so it's
know.
not the ward. But I mean, there were pings going down there. Maybe they said they were pinging there to put down a ward there, but I mean, that was yeah, they seem to know she's there. They're pinging there still, and Jarvan's coming around. And there might be a fight that breaks out here because a 2v2 right here. The Jarvan does go in, actually is pulled in, and he does get exhausted. The Kayle coming in as well. Now they try to focus on the Kayle. Some damage going out. Kayle trying to move back and attack at the same time. Get some damage on them, and they both back off. And Morgana was coming up, as was Lux, and the spell shield does help her to get out of that. Actually, it gets the bind on Vi, but she is going to be in a little bit of trouble. It does get a lot of damage put on. A lot of burst damage. Gas is picking up that kill, so it's going to actually pick up that blue buff because of that, so it's going to help out Lux a lot.
Oh, that's so sad when you get that early blue buff and then the enemy suddenly has it. And that's all because of that early level 2 gank from Vi. Morgana's flash is up in 20 seconds, but it wasn't up there, so there's no way she was getting out of that. It really just kind of got left high and dry by her team, Curse. Leaving that Morgana alone, and kind of sad, but regardless, that just about evens it up. So we're back to almost a dead-on even game here.
Yep. Down at bot, we saw Thresh go for a pull. Would have got them under tower range, but they were able to dodge it pretty easily. Just sidestep it, and Thresh and Caitlyn go back. So it looks like Tristana might want to push this lane out before maybe going back herself.
We do have teleport up for Gasti. Not sure if he's going to use it here. There doesn't seem to be any opportunities around the map. So we'll just run back to lane. Isn't really in danger of his tower taking any damage either. So yep, just a nice little walk back for that Steel Legion Lux.
Yep, and Steel Legion, of course, is the skin that has the hard-to-detect snare, which I don't know if it's been changed around yet. I know there were people talking about how it was going to be changed.
Yeah, I remember Morello saying that as well. I don't know. Kind of looks the same to me. Oh, a nice Dark Binding.
And ultimate comes out from Morgana, is going to force the flash, but still gets that second proc anyway for the stun. But Morgana is not going to follow up on this. Doesn't get enough damage to hurt Lux anyway. Actually, the snare goes down, and Final Spark coming out. The binding goes on Lux now with that moment of immobilization from the Final Spark. Flashes forward to try to get some extra auto attacks to get the kill, but it is not enough, and Lux is able to back off from this.
I mean, that's one thing about Lux that I think people underestimate time and time again. Yes, she has incredible range. You normally don't see her getting hit by combos like that, but most other mages would have died there, and the reason Lux didn't is because just that level 1 of the shield, you know, that level 1 prismatic barrier shields for 80 plus 22, so 102 back and 102 forth. So essentially, you know, she got blocked, you know, she blocked 200 damage, you know, twice over the course of that fight, and that really kept Lux alive and did an incredible job there. So yeah, one more reason why Lux is a little bit OP.
And I mean, you know, staying on that same thing, in team fights, if she can manage to get that shield on to multiple people, that's going to be so much damage prevented in team fights, and that is going to be such a useful skill on her. Thresh actually going in pretty aggressive on this Tristana. Zyra's out warding, so that's why she wasn't there, but actually gets the snare, gets some damage on Thresh, and Thresh is about half health, using some potions to get some health back, but is going to be taking, is a little bit low right now. Lux is going to get that blue buff, so refreshing that blue buff that she stole from Morgana. Up top, we see Kayle taking out that ward with a pink ward of her own.
Yeah, I mean, Kayle got the, you know, first blood advantage there, but the lane has been very even since, and we do see the early Warden's Mail picked up by Darius. I really like that pickup. You know, especially you're going against a team, you know, it's pretty heavy auto attack based with Kayle, with Caitlyn, and with Jarvan. Certainly not a waste of money. We'll eventually build into that Randuin's Omen, which is a great item for Darius.
Yep, and I mean, even in lane, it helps him out a lot because it's going to be lowering Kayle's damage by a lot. Looks like an in-lane gank coming out for the Jarvan. Some harass coming down from Kayle, and looks like Kayle is really just having her way with Darius right now, just zoning him out. But Darius is going to be able to try to farm under tower, is going to get a good amount of CS, but...
yeah, and he's actually back up 3 CS, and the lanes are evening out here, so... I mean, not really getting shut down to the extent that you would think he might, especially after giving up that first blood, and being a little bit camped by Jarvan. By cutting down bottom, doesn't know she's standing in a ward, but realizes nothing good is going to come of this either. So, heads on back to base. Yep. Or doesn't.
Nope, just backs off. But she did steal the blue buff from Jarvan. Jarvan just walks over, sees the blue buff is gone, is going to walk over this ward and... go over towards mid, maybe looking for a chance to counter jungle, or just puts down a ward, maybe. No raids there, so yeah, just backs off from the jungle.
That's the jungler's code. Anytime you get counter jungled, you then have to go counter jungle the enemy team. That's how it works, and oftentimes you get caught doing that because the enemy has your buff and knows you're probably desperate to pick up a little bit of extra experience. As you mentioned earlier, Darius is getting a little bit punished in the top lane, is taking the better part of the the worst part of the damage trades up there, but is also staying ahead in farm, so doing a good job down there. Woo, lots of damage down bottom.
Yep, and it looks like Caitlyn and Thresh are on the run here. Some damage coming out, and Zyra actually is low as well, so they are both trading a lot as they were in the first game. I mean, the CS is pretty close. I mean, Caitlyn is ahead by 6, but it's still pretty close. Actually, Zyra getting very low after throwing out that snare is going to have to be careful. The Caitlyn, she does have her ace in the hole up.
Zyra remembers those aces in the holes, because I'm pretty sure she died to about 4 of them last game. It was a little bit ridiculous, but at the same time, had Zyra thrown down the Stranglethorns there, and Tristana jumped in, which we know Big Ol' Buns is prone to do, I think Caitlyn would have been dead quicker than that ace in the hole would have gotten off. So, really close battle down bottom, as it was last game. You know, very even on these CS. Tristana picking him up will come about even, but Caitlyn does have a few CS advantage here.
Yep. So basically even for our first purposes. Vi is coming down bot, so we might see something happening. Maybe they want to try to go for this dragon as pink goes down, and they're going to start working on the dragon. Zyra coming around as well. Lux isn't there just yet, but they're going to be able to do this very well. A lot of damage done to it. It's already below half, and no runes is responding to it yet. So it looks like they're going to be able to take this dragon once again, keeping their mantle as the masters of the dragon.
Yes, the Dragon Slayer Supreme, so really good job by EA. I mean, I always feel like dragons are super important. Some pro teams, you know, kind of waffle as to the importance of that objective, and there are certainly disadvantages for overcommitting towards it, but so far EA has been able to pick it up, and pick it up most of the time for very minimal cost. And by minimal, I mean, I don't think they've died going for Dragon over the past game, and going on into this one. And Tristana just happy to continue farming away as well. So things looking good for EA. Thanks to that Dragon, they're now 1.4k in the lead, which is, you know, under 10% right now. So it's not a substantial lead. 1-1 is a score. Anything can happen.
Yeah, actually, I don't even think there's been a Dragon fight yet, let alone a kill because of Dragon. So being able to take that take that global gold without much of a challenge is very helpful to them. One interesting thing to note is that Kale decided to go for a Cutlass first, so it'll be interesting to see how Kale builds. It doesn't seem like the traditional, or not the traditional, just the more popular AP Kale build.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say that earlier when we mentioned the, you know, the AP build. Blade of the Rune King seems to make a lot of sense on her. It doesn't, you know, particularly synergize with her. It just gives, you know, someone who has a lot of attack speed bonuses a nice additional damage and lifesteal, and just kind of the whole kit and caboodle. Especially if you want to build her, you know, Blade of the Rune King as one of your only offensive items, then it certainly works out as that, and then she can build a little bit more supporty or tanky, so she can fill multiple roles for the team.
Yeah, so I mean, we'll see if she does decide to go with the Blade of the Rune King. She does have that active on it though, so she's going to have that slow, even in addition to the slow on the Q, and a lot of harass going down over at bot, a lot of damage going down on either side, and they're both AD carries are dropping pretty low. Tristana's actually very low, so she's going to have to be careful. Morgana coming down. They know she is coming down, so they're going to back off a lot. Bigopon's actually sticking around a little bit. And the flash bind coming out, but the minion gets in the way. That minion is a hero for blocking that bind. But over up at top, it looks like there was a gank on either side. Morgana's still sticking around, so I'm going to stay over here at bot lane because it looks like they want to dive this. They do dive this, and they are able to get that hook, but he does die in the process as the ult comes out from Zyra, keeping the Thresh there under the tower. So Lux coming over, looking for people, but isn't going to find anyone. So I'm going to go back a little bit to see if I can catch the fight up at top. And I got a bug splat error.
Oh dear, oh dear. Well, I'll walk through the top lane. Essentially, Kale, a little bit overcommitted. Jarvan was waiting in the brush, but Vi came in with the ult. The Divine Intervention went off on Kale, but she kind of just backed out, and then the attention just turned on her Jarvan, and Darius still had his ult. So, kind of as I mentioned, before the game began, Darius has the big advantage in 2v2s because, yes, while Kale was able to ult herself, was not able to ult both people, and the intervention just went on the other person. So imagine you're trying to jump back into this game as fast as you can. You let me know when you are back in, and I'll just keep on radio commentating until then. Kale did take down the top lane turret, so that pressure top lane did pay off in that respect, and the game is incredibly even, with only about 500 gold separating the two teams. We do see it looked like Morgana was going to rush towards an early Athene's, but has kind of swapped up her build from Chalice of Harmony, is now going Seeker's Arm Guard, which is, of course, the new item that kind of leads to Zhonya's. And really, Zhonya's was always core to Morgana, so you would figure that Seeker's Arm Guard would give her a boost, but she has seen very little play as of late. And we do see some more aggression top lane. Kale taken incredibly low. Vi is there to back up Darius, but it looks like they're going to be content to push down this tower, and if Jarvan sticks around, he might have some trouble. He really wants to, but he's not going to.
Yeah, I'm actually getting back into game now. It shows everybody as summoning, so I should theoretically be into the game soon.
And Kale did pick up the Blade of the Rune King. I know you were interested in that, so I will tell you specifically.
Yep. So actually, that is the first message that I see. Kale purchased Blade of the Rune King. But okay, so we are back in game. Yep, so as you said, the top turrets did fall. Kale going back into lane, Vi getting out of there, and Morgana is down at bot, so looks like they want to try something over here.
Oh my goodness, Lantern into the Soul Shackle is what I imagine. I see big things. I see good big things, but Ghasty's teleport is down. I don't even remember when Ghasty used that. It seemed like he hadn't used it for the first like 15 minutes of the game, but apparently he did use it at some point.
Actually,
and here we go.
Actually, Tristana does him a favor by attacking him first, and now he actually gets hook on Tristana now. The Soul Shackles, they do come out, but
no!
from Tristana does cancel that out. So, or as in, it pushes her away, so it does not get that second proc at all. So, Tristana able to get away. And that is some very good play by Zyra and by Tristana, using their CC to really get out of that situation.
Tristana was like, I don't think so, Buster. Yep.
Alright, so...
not.
Kale going over to mid lane, helping Morgana to push this lane a little bit. Ghasty is around, but he's going to have to be careful. Doesn't want to get caught in a binding and then burst it down very quickly. He's going to walk around, try to defend this turret. This turret is dropping a little bit more than half health right now.
Yeah, and Dragon is up, so apparently Cursed got a timer approximately on when that Dragon was coming up, and now they want to defend it. So we might see the first Dragon fight of the series. I'm excited. Are you excited?
I am excited, but I mean, we'll see if they actually decide to fight this, because...
Cursed doesn't have Soul Shackles or Box. You know, Zyra doesn't have Stranglethorns, but that's it. I mean, it looks like EA would have the ultimate advantage at this point in time.
They do as well. I mean, it looks like Curse is trying to back off a little bit. They might want to harass a little bit the soil coming down, soil coming down. They do get the dragon and some little harass going down, but besides that, not really a fight. I mean, I guess it was contested, so there's that, but no fight breaks out, no one died, not enough damage was done to either side.
Oh wow, and EA goes bottom and Cursed goes middle. So this is like a semi-base race where they're clearly not going to go to the base, but there are turrets being exchanged.
Well, I mean, they could, you know, they could. They're still going. Both teams are still going at it. So this is still a base race as far as I'm concerned.
Go.
Tristana working on this next turret. Actually, it looks like Curse is backing off from that middle turret. It seems like they didn't think they would be able to take it down fast enough. Tristana is very good at taking down turrets, and she shows that by taking down that turret. So they're trying to get back as well. There are the four of them without getting engaged.
Oh my goodness, there might be an engage here.
There might be. The flash coming out and the Soul Shackles coming out. She does die eventually to Darius though, and Jarvan does finish off the Vi. The Ace in the Hole comes out, but actually that's not what finishes off Darius. The intervention
from the back.
The intervention coming out from Kale to help keep her alive. Lux comes in to throw out that final spark and you know, throw out some spells, but looks like she might be in a little trouble because she teleported over to the back line. So we'll see if she is able to get out of this sticky situation. And they're still running. Throws out that bind. Is going to get Jarvan there. Is going to try to suicide here. Might try to go over to the turret. Morgana is coming up though. She's going to have to be careful about that. The bind comes out, does not hit. The range isn't. Oh, but the soil comes out. That is going to be enough damage. Just a little bit is all you need, and that does give her the kill of Lux.
Oh man, that was an incredibly good fight for Curse. In large part thanks to that really ballsy ultimate in from Morgana. Now Morgana has Zhonya, so you know she can do that and not necessarily instantly die to Darius. But really good job, you know, kind of forcing the fight there. And Curse, you know, the entire team really picked up the slack. And Ghasty, like they knew that was going to happen. They knew potentially that they could get stuck down there. But Ghasty did have teleport in, but just got teleported in on the wrong side of the fight and kind of just wasn't able to connect with all of his skill shots there, leading to a team fight loss.
Yep, and I mean, it seemed like EA knew that, or you know, knew that Morgana didn't have that Zhonya's Hourglass, so they really tried to burst her down very quickly, and they did manage to kill her quickly, but they were too focused on Morgana, and they were able. The rest of Curse was able to come over and take that fight. Vi getting a little bit caught out, does ult the Morgana as she knows two of her teammates are in the vicinity, is going to get taken down very low, and the Zhonya's Hourglass coming out from Morgana. Darius is still chasing the Darius, does pick up that kill, and so it is a 1-for-1 trade so far. It's still fighting this. Actually, the Lux getting caught by that binding is going to get hit. Actually, the flash coming out, but Kale flashes to follow after acing the hole is blocked by Darius. And Tristana's a little bit too much in front here, and she is going to have to jump over to try to get away. Looks like they are going to back up. They are safe, but this tower is in Sierra's trouble because they are very low and are probably unable to defend this tower at this point. Actually, Tristana is still being chased, and the Blade of the Ruin King going out, going to do a lot of damage to her, jumps over the wall, the binding goes out, but it is not long enough, so it is not able to catch Tristana. The tower goes down, though, and that gives Curse 3 towers to help them give them an almost even gold count with EA.
Yeah, so it's kind of an interesting little fight there. Curse, in the lead in kills, but still behind in gold, even in turrets, so it's, I guess, just farm that's kind of making up the difference here. But one thing that's interesting is Kale, 4-0-0. So really impressive showing so far. Blade of the Rune King, and then stacking that with Nashor's Tooth. Not kind of a combination of items I would normally see, but extra attack speed does synergize with Blade of the Rune King really well, and of course synergizes with Kale really well. And now we do see 2 people from Curse on the bottom, and we see EA kind of flipping the switch. Last game, Curse took the early Baron. This game, it looks like EA is after it, and now there's definitely a thought that this is going on, but will they be able to do anything about it? It is pretty low, and Caitlyn and Jarvan are miles away.
Yep, and actually that snare going down from Zyra, and the light coming out from Lux actually, and Lux actually able to burst down the Morgana very quickly after taking that Baron. They are going to have a person advantage as well as that Baron buff, so they're going to try to push down mid, maybe even try to, Kate is back far enough, using that net to get back even more. The tower does fall very quickly though, and they're going to be able to do a lot of damage to these turrets. They do have a pretty sizable advantage with that Baron buff right now, and they are going to be able to take this tower down very quickly as well, and they're going to just keep on pushing this right now.
Yeah, this is, really bad news for Curse. Just after off a team fight, we just saw them win pretty, demonstrably. Now they're really in the backseat, possibly going to lose an inhibitor. No, EA is going to play it safe. They're going to back out. They have a big advantage, but they also all probably have a couple thousand gold in the bank. Yeah, holy heck. What? I think my eyes might be deceiving me. It looks like Zyra has 2,700 gold in the bank. She must have picked up some killing sprees there.
It's showing me that she has 2,700 gold too, so that is a lot of money for the support to have. Actually, they're just waiting in this bush. They have the Oracle, so they know that... it's not the Oracle, sorry, the Vision Ward, so they know that there are no wards in this bush, and they're just waiting to catch someone. It looks like they're going to catch the Thresh, and they are going to catch the Thresh. The ultimate from Darius coming out, picking off that kill, and then they're going to go for this dragon, as they are wont to do.
Man, EA just stepping up their game. Really good strategy. We saw this from Curse last game. They're behind. They're trying to set up picks. It didn't really pay off for them, but EA, setting up the picks the same way, but successfully. So,
yep,
a little bit different.
Lux tries to step around that trap, but doesn't manage it. Doesn't really matter as much.
Cupcakes.
But
any woman will tell you, impossible to avoid.
Yeah, and it looked like they were gonna try to push down bottom momentarily, but it looks like they're just gonna back up, content with all their gold. Zyra is gonna... no, Zyra's not backing yet, so Zyra still has a lot of gold still. It's not gonna put that to use yet. She has 3,000, more than 3,000 now.
Top lane was just pushing so hard. I think EA, just like last game, was like, oh shoot, we better go protect top lane. And so Curse, tends to do that. They're like, oh, enemy team has Baron, let's make sure we push out a lane. And they do it safely, so good on them for that. Of course, EA already kind of capitalized, already got a couple turrets. I think they pushed down all 3 mid turrets and took that dragon and a Thresh. So certainly extended their lead, 6,000 gold up now, even though they're 1 kill down. I love these games where, the kill line doesn't really reflect what's been happening throughout the game.
Yeah, I mean, like, if the kill line also included an objectives line, besides the turrets, that is, it might, because you would see all those dragons, you would see the Baron in favor of EA, and that would, help you to see where all that gold is coming from, because that is a pretty big gold lead, despite being down in kills.
Yeah, and I was talking up Darius so much in Nerever, and I was like, oh, he first built that Warden's Mail. He's going to rush that Randuin's Omen. It's now 27, 28 minutes in the game. No Randuin's Omen. Still sitting on that first item, Warden's Mail pickup. Does have a Sunfire, Hex Drinker, Brutalizer. I like all those pickups too. But you know what I like even more? Randuin's Omen, rather.
That Warden's Mail is still also useful, though, because whenever he does get attacked, it is going to be slowing. The flash ult coming out from Morgana, a lot of people flash out from that. The Ice in the Hole going to come out and hit that Tristana. She is going to be taken out, but the fight is still going on. The final spark going out, hitting a couple people, but the ultimate coming out from Kayle to help keep the Jarvan alive. The Caitlyn picks up yet another kill as Zyra and Lux back up from this, and actually a lot of poke and actually a lot of damage going out as they back up, so they might still be looking for a chance to get a kill here. But Lux's final spark is about 20 seconds away, so they'll still have to be. Oh, actually, Morgana getting caught by basically a full range. Actually, a flash hook going out, catching the Lux, and she does fall pretty quickly, and that is a kill. Actually, a flash coming out from Zyra to avoid that bind. So that was, I think, 4 kills for Team Curse there.
Yeah, 4 for 1. Crazy. And I was like, oh man, they can't really chase this Lux. Lux is going to get that ultimate up again. They're not really going to be able to make any progress on turrets because that ultimate has such a ridiculously low cooldown. And then they get a beautiful, beautiful death sentence there. And once again, we're kind of at the edge of our seat. What is going to happen in this game? I mean, I know EA has the lead, but I also know, Darius kind of a slouch later on in the game. And so far, Curse has been really showing how dominating those Morgana ultimates can be. Historically, I've not been a big fan of her ultimates. I'm like, late game, oh, you can probably dodge them. We saw there, she jumped in there, and everyone was just a little bit too slow for EA to get away. And she did so much damage, almost single-handedly taking out Tristan. Of course, did get that ace in the hole, a little extra damage as well. But really good showing from Morgana, grabbing everyone on the enemy team. And when they seem to have kind of an insurmountable lead, Curse still manages to come out with a 4-1 teamfight lead. I don't even understand. I don't even know what's going on here.
Yeah, I mean, that was a very good team fight, a very good initiation by Morgana. Didn't exactly manage to get that many people, but that worked very effectively. As you see, Vi coming over is gonna have to just dash over that wall, but we'll see what Curse does now, because they have shown that they can win these team fights despite having been behind. They are still behind in gold, but in team fights they are still very strong.
Yeah, Biggle Buns is 0-3 and 4. That blows my mind. It's kind of like last game. And I think this was kind of the scoreline last game. I think, Curse's AD carry had 4 kills, Biggle Buns had none, and we're like, oh, this could be the difference in the game. The AD carry getting fed really could spell out a huge advantage for Curse. But, I don't know, EA was able to pull that out last time? I imagine they have some trick up their sleeve this time. These teamfights so far have just not gone their way, but they do have that open inhibitor. Baron should be coming up soon. They have that Oracle, which is giving them a vision advantage, which I think is massively underrated as an actual thing. Vision advantage is big, just for the record. It's very important. So they do have that over Baron right now. Whew, and that light binding almost landed on Lux's Dark Sister.
Yeah, actually the spell shield coming out to help prevent that, I think that would have actually landed on her and have snared her because the light proc was on her, but it did manage to get away with that shield. It looks like they're just kind of preparing for Baron. It is up now, and both sides have the oracles. And actually, EA is just kind of moving up in this lane, maybe trying to push without doing the Baron, as a Baron fight could be devastating. I don't think either team really wants it. Oh, actually, a binding or a snare comes out. You still get snared again. The Morgana comes in, gets the ult on everybody, but most people move out of the way. But again, it is still very effective CC, as it prevents them from being able to get in good position. And looks like they're going to be able to take this fight now. But though, looks like a lot of damage. Tristana is still alive. Unlike last time, they were able to burst Tristana down, but now Tristana and Lux were just doing work. The quadra kill going out for Tristana, and despite the very good Morgana ult this time, this time, unlike last time, Tristana was full health and was able to just do so much work after that ult finished.
Biggle Buns is ridiculous. One, Biggle Buns is like, hey, I don't like getting kills early in the game. I'm going to get all my kills right now. So 4 kills, quadra kill, only kills of the game, and they take down the inhibitor, and they're going to take down one turret. Going for the second one, they might be sticking around too long, but... oh man, now it's getting a little bit hairy. Home guard boots. This is crazy.
Yep, the spell shield coming out. The binding actually misses though. Gasky using some very good sidestepping, then flashes over the wall, and it looks like they're going to be able to get away. The jump coming out from Tristana is going to give her the mobility needed to back off.
Yeah, but Baron is up. They have to be careful about that. The other thing about Biggle Buns, I think still has Blade of the Rune King active, but that's a story for another time. But Biggle Buns jumped to the back line, as he kind of did last game, just jumped to the back lines and just essentially sat on Caitlyn. And Caitlyn was acing the holding someone in the opposing enemy's back lines, and Tristana was like, oh, I will just kill you while you're shooting other people. So really good showing by Biggle Buns, being able to get to the back lines, which most AD carries aren't able to do. And the difference in the team fight there was, yes, Morgana's ult hit everyone, but in the last fight, her ultimate was able to actually proc on Tristana, and she was able to follow it up on Tristana. So I feel like it's kind of like the Malphite syndrome, where you can be like, oh, I can get an ult and hit everyone except their AD carry, and we'll lose the fight, but if I ult and only hit their AD carry, we'll win the fight. And that makes more sense with Malphite, of course, because he has that attack speed slow, but it could be, said the same for Morgana here, because if they take out Tristana, that is the massive amount of damage that's coming in from EA. Yes, Darius does a lot of damage, but you're not really stopping his damage immediately. Yes, Lux does too, but she's really hard to catch. Tristana is probably the one they want to catch, and now we do see those ghosts going out and a catch underway.
Yep, the Twin Shadow is going to slow down Vi first, and the EQ comes out from Jarvan, but Tristana just blows him back, and the Shirelli is being popped to help them get away, and it seems like they're just fine there. Mid is being pushed down by Curse, and I mean that's really going to help them a lot because that is the inhibitor down for them, so they're just really pushing out this lane and then going back to Baron, because if they do decide to do this Baron dance, actually they're starting this Baron right now, and EA is going to come up to contest it. They do peel off that Baron, and they're coming in. Morgana coming in with a bind once again, and the ultimate is going to catch the Lux. Lux isn't dead yet, though. Does throw out the final spark, but doesn't really hit many people. Does finally fall. On the other side of the map, there is a fight going down. The Darius ult coming out, and now Kale is being chased by Vi. Is going to be able to do a lot of damage. Is she going to be able to chase? As that fight is going on, Caitlyn does manage to finish up Tristana, and now Darius is going to try to do enough damage to the Jarvan. He does flash over. Caitlyn throws out that Piltover Peacemaker.
Flash your hand, come on! Oh, he gets slowed.
He does get slowed. The Vi does finally manage to finish off Kale. Now she's going to start to work on this Nexus, and the rest of Curse have to come back because they don't want to lose this game. And Vi is still punching it. They're punching it. Vi is still full health too, so they have to also be careful because they're very low. She does actually jump on the Jarvan, does get that knock up on him, and has that spell shield, but is going to take a good amount of damage. They just back up from this, and they're going to go back and heal up, and EA is forced to back off.
And yet another crazy team fight. Oh man. I mean,
actually, it still might not be over because the home guard boots allow them to get. No, they're just going to peel off.
A minion. Minion. That little bit of damage. Yeah, Lux got instantly blown up, and then Tristana tried to do it with Caitlyn, and it just didn't go as well as Tristana had imagined it. I imagine Tristana was like, well, I remember last time we fought, and I killed you really easily, but that time you were attacking someone else. This time, Caitlyn attacking Tristana. Much closer fight, and that Caitlyn did get the best of it. Also had a little bit more backup, too. That always helps.
Yep. That backup always helps. The pink ward is down on Baron for Team EA. Ward just being placed by Thresh to help give them vision too, but looks like we might have another Baron dance / fight gonna happen soon because both teams want to have the vision of that very important objective. Tristana is back, but she's gonna be trying to get back up here as soon as possible. as both teams really see each other, are grouping around mid lane right now. Oh, the flash pull going in, but the snare went out, so he was not really able to get that off, and so that is flash down for Thresh.
I just want to see the flasher hand from Darius. He could end this game with just one good one. And now it looks like the inhibitors respond.
The hook does miss, and that lets them know that the Black Shield does help prevent one snare, but the other does land. The ult from Kale does go down, and the ult from Morgana goes out a little bit late, but doesn't land on anybody. The Zhonya's goes out, and she does fall eventually. The Ace in the Hole does go, as actually she dies to minions, Caitlyn does. And now that is another, ultimate coming out from Darius, and the Shirley is being popped as an ace comes out. That the soonest death timer is about 30 seconds for Thresh, and there are 4 members of EA still up. They just have an inhibitor down, and then the Nexus is open for their taking. GGs are going out, as it's almost certain that EA is going to take this game.
Red team's inhibitor has been destroyed.
And no Randuin's Omen. That's all I have to say.
And there's a lot of other items. I mean, he was going to build it next probably. That Giant's Belt is there.
That's what I've been telling myself the whole game. He's going to build it next. It was probably going to turn into Warmogs. But regardless, EA doing a really good job there. I mean, that team fight did not look like it was going well. Lux took a lot of damage, like, at the beginning of the fight. Tristana just got forced out of the fight by Caitlyn. And, Caitlyn just showing her mettle, generally not considered, a really strong late-game carry, but in the last 2 fights was able to 1v1 Tristana without issue. So really good showing there, and really good showing all around from EA. One thing I can say, and one thing we can take from this game, I think, or from this series, is it pays off to be Master of the Dragons.
Yep, indeed. As I'm pretty sure EA took every single dragon. I don't think Curse got a single one.
Yeah, it was good showing. It was commitment to objectives, and Curse's really just kind of lackadaisical approach to the same objectives, wherein they didn't care that they were losing all those dragons. They kind of had different plans in both of the games, and we've seen that happen before at the professional level where teams are just like, oh, we don't need the dragon. But it just makes me think there were a lot of fights that they could have challenged around dragon, and there are a lot of things they could have potentially done, to make at least those, dragons have some cost to them. But in essence, they were all free, and there was like probably eight or more going to EA over the course of those 2 games, and I think those spelled the difference.
Yep, so that is all we have for now, because it is a best-of-3 series, and EA won both games, so they will advance. Curse, unfortunately, will not. So that is all we have for you right now. Again, I am ggChronicle, joined by my casting partner, Sotere. So that is also, thank you all for watching, and have a good night, everyone.
Have a good night.